And you feel it coming, don't you? I know you do. You feel it in your heart. Something's off. Something's shifted. Something's different. Something's changed. The world's different now. Yes, my friend. Yes, it is different. Absolutely different. Hello, folks. I got a question the other day. Why do you spend so much time and energy in the woods, on the farm? You're a doctor. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I thought today I would share with you why I'm doing this. Why am I spending all these hours out here in the woods? What's going on? There's multiple layers of reason why I'm doing this. Surface layer, we inherited this farm. It's grown up, 30 years of overgrowth. I want to try to get it better. I want to build the soil. I want to have sheep on the property so we can feed the family. It's also great exercise. Also gives me hours to do a lot of learning. Medical topics, nutrition topics, geopolitics, politics, history. I love that stuff, and I think it's going to be very, very important to be well versed in that in the coming years. But there's multiple other layers, and I thought I'd get into a few of those today. So the next reason is, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but politics and just culture on a national level is a little bit more crazy than I would like for it to be. It makes me a little nervous. Is it making you a little nervous too? Nisha and I had a house in Nashville, in Bellevue, when the pandemic struck, and just watching the changes, not only in people, but in governments, in police, in healthcare, the way people change so abruptly, so quickly, and so worrisomely, we decided to sell that house and get out. That's what we did. And fortuitously, we inherited this farm about the same time. And so we came here and we're building a little house here. And let's talk about what's going on at the national level, at the statewide level, and what you need to think about it and what you need to do about it. So for years, I've been acutely interested in national politics. I followed the elections, I followed the news. Every morning over coffee, I would read 20 different newspapers and websites from all over the world, not just in the United States. And I listened to a book who the author called that armchair politics. Just because you're reading about the latest scandal in Washington and you read about it and you post it on Twitter or Facebook and you get some likes or you get some comments, you're not really making any meaningful difference whatsoever. It's armchair politics. And when I heard that term, immediately I was like, that's exactly what I've been doing. I thought I was being really educating myself and making a difference by retweeting and sharing all over social media. I was having essentially no effect whatsoever. This same author reminded me of a quote by the late great Tip O'Neill that all politics are local. And he went into that a little bit and said, if you don't know who your local elected officials are, then you're probably part of the problem, not part of the solution. Who is your county commissioner? Who is your school board member? Who is your state rep? Who is your state senator? Who's in your governor's cabinet of your state? If these names are not readily coming off your lips, you might be part of the problem. If you can name every single tragedy that's happened at a national level, internationally, every earthquake, every volcano, every fire, every little war, skirmish, but you don't know the members of your school board, you haven't met them in person and shook hands with them, you might be part of the problem. If you don't know who your county commissioner is and most of the members of your county commission, and you don't know what legislation is coming before them in the next 6 months, you might be part of the problem. Are you part of the problem? Armchair politics doesn't fix anything. It might make you feel like you've done something. Oh, I retweeted that about Biden or Trump, and that'll show them. You've had exactly zero effect in the real world. You have not made your family any safer. You have not made your local economy any stronger. You're an armchair politician. You're part of the problem. You're wasting all of your time and your energy and perhaps some significant intellect basically jerking off at a national level where you can never have an effect. Even if your tweet went super viral and you got 500 million hearts, you haven't changed anything at the national level. It's time for all of us to pull away from the armchair top politics, in my opinion. And I'm just a doctor and a country boy and a amateur rancher, amateur farmer. But these things, I read about these things all the time. I'm studying, I'm thinking when I'm out here, the hours on the farm, I'm thinking about this. What about your state legislature, your state senate? Very important legislation comes up all the time. If you're not aware of that, you're not aware of who your rep and your senator are, you're not aware of their stance on that, just sharing something on Facebook, that's not going to make a damn bit of difference. Politicians listen to people. They might gauge the way the wind's blowing by Facebook posts and how many likes this got. But when somebody calls their office or shows up at their office and says, hey, me and 45 other people in my community really want you to reconsider your stance on this upcoming bill, that's going to get some traction. And the very fact that you know about the bill. Most state reps and state senators will be very shocked that you even knew that bill was on the agenda. Are you part of the problem? If you know all the members of the current president of the United States cabinet, but you don't know who the cabinet members are in your state, you might be part of the problem. I was part of the problem. That's why I'm able to say this to you and hopefully not offend you too much. I was part of the problem. I thought that reading the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, France 24, the London Times, Politico, I thought that made me a good citizen. All that did was left me spinning my wheels for hours a day, missing all the important stuff that was happening, number one, in my family, number two, in my local community, and number three, at my county level, and number four, at my state level. Those are the most important things in your life. Trust me. Nisha and I have talked about this stuff at length. We've listened to some books together about these subjects. We're both now becoming much more involved in local politics at the county and state level. I would highly encourage you to consider doing that as well. Highly, highly consider you doing that. Stop spinning your wheels, worrying about the latest Trump or Biden drama. You can have an opinion. You can be part of a political party. And I honestly don't care which party you're a member of. It probably matters where you live in the country as to which party you should belong to get the most traction locally. So what about my local community here? How am I strengthening my local community and strengthening my bonds to my local community? Well, we go to church. We've got a local church who we have a ton of friends at, making more new friends every day. Oh yeah, actually, to have any traction at a local level, you actually got to speak to humans. Sorry, I know. This is a problem for some of us. We've gotten so jaded and so spoiled by social media that we think we're having some impact on the world while not actually speaking to humans. And that is not how it works. We're helping our local food bank. We're donating food every month, both food from the farm and then food that we purchase and donate to them. If there are enough hungry people living around you, that makes you and your family and your home less safe. Think about that. You don't want hungry people living next door. Do you know your next door neighbor's name? Do you know your next door neighbor's birthday? Do you know what their favorite cut of steak is? All these things are important for building the resiliency of your little half-acre lot or your little 50-acre farm. You need to know all of your neighbors. You need to know something about them. You need to be on a first-name basis with them. That stuff's important. That's how you protect your family ultimately, because let me just tell you guys, I'm going to put links to a few books down in the show notes that I've listened to while I'm out in the woods here that make me think the way I'm thinking and then therefore talking the way I'm talking here today. You may feel in your gut like something's different, something's changed. The world's different now. Yes, my friend, yes, it is different. Absolutely different, yes. And it's never going back to the way it was. The way the world was for the last 30, 40 years was a small blip in the history of humanity that was the perfect storm of lots of different economic and geopolitical things that were happening that put Americans especially in this sweet, sweet seat. The sweetest ride of our life and of the life of any human who's ever lived on the planet. That's gone. It's going away, okay? Now, I'm not a catastrophist. I'm not a conspiratorialist. I'm not saying that the U.S. is going to collapse. I'm not saying that Armageddon's coming. That's irrelevant. If Armageddon comes, then we're all screwed anyway. It doesn't matter. But I don't think that's how it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen very slowly. It's going to happen one little structure at a time, one little institution at a time. And the stronger you are as an individual, the stronger you are as a family, the stronger you are as a community, the less it's going to hurt. And that's very important, because if it hurts enough, it'll kill you. But if you have structured your life, your personal life, to make yourself more resilient, more anti-fragile, as Nassim Taleb would say, if you've structured your family to be very resilient, your little farmstead, however big or however small, it doesn't really matter. The reason it doesn't matter, if you're sitting on a half acre now or an acre or 2 acres, and you're like, what am I going to do? You're going to make friends with every neighbor around you, because I guarantee you some of your neighbors have bigger farms. And if you're good enough friends with that neighbor, guess what they're not going to let happen? They're not going to let you suffer. They're not going to let you starve if it comes to that. They're not going to let your kids suffer. They're going to consider you part of their extended family. You've got to talk to people. Anybody have a problem with actually talking to humans IRL? I had a little problem with that. Nisha's got a little problem with that, but we're getting over that for the family's sake. Beck and Bonnie don't deserve parents who sit around and read the national news and click on stuff and hit the heart and the thumbs up and share stuff, but don't really have any meaningful impact on the world. They deserve parents who are literally making the world a better place. Your kids deserve that too. And no matter how poor you are, you might be renting a 1/4 acre right now. Guess what? You can still make a meaningful impact at your local level and your state level. Soon, you're going to notice that the era where you could eat lamb chops from New Zealand and mushrooms from South America and whatever from Canada, whatever from Asia, that slowly but surely that's going to go away. The United States is slowly but surely pulling away from being the policeman of the world, and I think ultimately that's a good thing. But it's going to cause some pain. In some countries, it's going to cause devastating pain, but here in America, it's going to cause some pain, but it's not going to be the end of the world. But it is going to be the end of the world as you've known it. It's going to be a new world, and you feel it coming, don't you? I know you do. You feel it in your heart. Something's off. Something's shifted. And some people will go to the supernatural. Like, I don't know, I think the end times are coming soon or something. I don't know, I feel something's going on. But what you're feeling is continent-wide geopolitical shifts, I think. My opinion. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I'd love to know what you think. Absolutely would love to know what you think, because we're all going into this new epoch, this new time period. We're all going into it blind. We're all in the dark. We don't know what's going to happen. I would opine that even the leaders at the highest levels of national government have no damn clue what's about to happen. They know something's going to happen. You see the super wealthy buying up 500-acre ranches and building vaults and building bomb shelters. Those people are not idiots. They have access to news that you and I don't have access to. They're not stupid. They're not wasting their money. What are they doing? Why are they doing that? I think there's a variety of reasons why they think that's probably not a bad idea. Now, of course, they still live in the city right now because things are still going on. When the Titanic hit the iceberg, it didn't just immediately sink. Right after the Titanic hit the iceberg, everybody was like, what was that? Oh, nothing changed. Oh, well, okay, let's go back and let's go have a drink. Little did they know that the nails were already in their coffin. You just couldn't tell it yet. And I think we're in a similar situation, not nearly as dire, but just as serious if you don't take this serious starting right now. And you may have already done that, and I'd love to see in the comments what steps have you taken to make your little homestead more resilient, to make your family more anti-fragile. What steps have you taken? Because I am in no way an expert on this. I'm still learning every day out here in the woods. So why am I talking about local politics and state politics? Well, as the years go by in this new era, whatever you want to call it, where national politics is very entertaining. Oh man, it's better than any soap opera. But nothing's really happening up there. State government, state legislatures, state senators are going to start taking back state power from the federal government. They're going to start saying, you know what? We can't trust you to get anything done for us. We're just going to start doing it ourselves. And that's when it's really going to change. And there are already some state governments that are already doing things like this.